guys, so I'm going to be solving this problem. You've probably seen it on your 6.1 quiz. It's like one of the very last questions. So I'm going to be solving it for you. So a miter saw has a blade with a 4-inch radius. Suppose the blade spins at 4,000 RPM. Okay, so RPM is revolutions per minute. When we're talking about a revolution, we're talking about one whole circle turn. So a 360-degree angle, but when we talk about angular speed and linear speed, which we'll get to, revolution is also known as 2 pi, because that is the angle of a circle in radian mode. So one revolution can also be known as 2 pi, which is a circle. So find angular speed. So the way we find angular speed is we use the equation omega is equal to theta over time. Normally, theta is an angle, but if we look at what we're given, we're not actually given a specific angle. So the way we combat is we use this 4,000 RPM. That is more or less our angle. So we take that 4,000, and since it's 4,000 revolutions, that means it's 4,000 times 2 pi, because 2 pi is a single revolution. All over time, which in this case is our per minute. So that's just 1 minute, which is easy. It's just 1. So this is 8,000 pi over 1. So it's just 8,000 pi. So that's the answer to part A. Part B asks you to find the linear speed of the saw teeth in feet per second. So linear speed can be written as S over time, T. S, though, can be written as radius times theta. So we're basically finding radius times theta over time. So we have theta. We actually just solved for it up here. And we have the radius. If we go back into the question, it tells us there's a 4-inch radius. And we have time, and it's still per minute. So we'll just plug all this in, and this will get us, so we have 4 inches times 8,000 pi over 1 minute. So that'll give us 32,000 pi inches over, and it's just 1, so we can just put it in minutes. So 32,000 pi inches per minute. However, the question wants feet per second, so we're going to have to convert this. So the best way to visualize converting this is to write out your 32,000 pi, and so inches is on top since it's in front of the dash, and then over 1 minute. So we're going to want to cancel out inches per minute and get it in feet per second. So when we're trying to cancel out units, there needs to be a unit in the numerator and the denominator for that unit to cancel out. So we can start with minutes. So since minutes is in the denominator, we're going to put 1 minute on top. That way, minutes cancels out. And so in 1 minute, there's 60 seconds. So those cancel. And then we have inches. So since inches is on the bottom, we're going to put it in the bottom. But we're not going to put 1 inch because we want it in feet. And there's 12 inches in 1 foot. So then these cancel, and then you just multiply across. So multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators, and that'll get us 32,000 pi feet over 720, and there should be an S. So, in theory, you could divide 32,000 pi over 720, but your answer is going to be a decimal. So, Cengage does not require you to simplify. So you can just keep your answer as 32,000 pi over 720. The reason why we don't put it into decimals is because the question does not indicate that we need to round to a certain amount of decimal places. Therefore, it's not going to accept a decimal answer. So, sometimes in some versions of these questions, when you divide them, it turns out to be a perfect whole number. In that case, use that whole number. But since 32,000 divided by 720 is not a whole number, it has a repeated decimal, we're just going to leave it as 32,000 pi over 720. And then that would be in feet per second. Sorry. And then that would be the answer.